Hi, I'm Katherine Hurst Miller, the 7th Circuit Representative to the Young Lawyers Division Board of Governors and a civil litigator in Daytona Beach. Today we're here in the Maitland offices of Upchurch Watson White Max, and I'm here with Sandra Upchurch, a mediator who I've actually had the pleasure of having as my mediator in cases, so it's a real joy to get to speak with her today about opening statements in mediation.
Katherine, thank you so much for having us. My firm was so thrilled to be involved in the Mentoring with a Master's program, and we hope that the young lawyers of the state of Florida enjoy all of the videos that will be taped and viewed, and we hope that you all get some great tips today.
Thank you. I think my first question is, what is the purpose of opening statement, and should they be made every time, or sometimes do you waive them?
I think honestly, from a lawyer's perspective, when the other lawyer is talking, really all they see are lips moving and all they're hearing is blah, blah, blah. And that's why a lot of lawyers would like to do away with opening comment and have asked me as the mediator to allow that to happen. Every single time, without exception, I discourage them from allowing that to happen, because it is my opinion that opening comments and opening statements are the time that the lawyers need to make an impression on the opposing party. That's really the only chance that litigators get a chance to address and make a lasting impression and a good impression on the opposing party.
What do some of the best opening statements consist of?
Gosh, I think the best opening statements are the genuine ones. And being genuine is something that I wish that I could bottle up and sell, because it doesn't come very often. And there aren't that many litigators that can pull off being genuine. There are a lot of litigators that I've seen that can pull off being aggressive pretty well and can pull off being intimidating very well. And those two things really do tend to set the mediation off on a bad tone. There are several lawyers, however, that I have worked with that are absolutely impressive. They are firm, they are consistent, they are strong, and they are impressive as far as what they're saying and with the level of genuineness that they're able to portray. Some lawyers can get away with mediation actually addressing the opposing party. That is a risky proposition. That can come off as being someone trying to intimidate the opposing party, and it's something that you really need to try out maybe on some colleagues, get together in a room, and maybe bring a client in who's a little bit more sophisticated that you could practice on and just see what works and what doesn't work.
That's very helpful. Are there things you should practice or do beforehand or be cognizant of when you go into opening statement?
I think one thing that I've learned a lot in my years of mediation is that there is some body language that is getting a message across that most litigators aren't even aware of. There's the obvious times, and this is rare, the obvious times when a lawyer will actually pick up a newspaper or a magazine during someone's opening statement, and that is offensive. They are intending to send a message when they do that, but it is not a good message, and it is not a productive message, and those mediations typically don't settle. Because the message you're sending to the client is, you are not important enough for me to listen to your lawyer. There's other body language too. Just leaning back and crossing your arms in your chair is a pretty negative message to send. Leaning forward, active listening skills with an angled head and focusing your attention on someone, those show that you are engaged and you are listening. And that's really an important message to portray, but you're not saying a thing.
As a young lawyer prepares for mediation, should they create a PowerPoint or bring any visuals in with them to the mediation?
Visual aids can be very, very helpful, but not every case calls for a PowerPoint presentation. I'm a little bit of a techie, so I do like PowerPoint, but there are definitely some do's and don'ts. And again, not every case would call for a PowerPoint presentation. Depends upon the value of your case and what kind of visual aids you have. No matter what you do, what you're saying, whether you're using a rollover board with paper or a PowerPoint presentation, what you are using as visual aids should emphasize what you are saying. It should not be what you are saying. Visual aids such as illustrations are great uses of PowerPoint. Photographs are great uses of PowerPoint. While you're speaking, have the photograph that you're speaking about in the background. That's very helpful. Particularly damning or useful deposition testimony is also a great way to use PowerPoint in a very effective way.
Go ahead and put the text on the screen.
Put the text. What's the question? What's the answer? And when the client sees that there's something that's pretty damning in writing and it's put in front of them that day at mediation, it can very quickly change the tide as far as what their expectations are at mediation. There are some not to do things too at mediation, some definite don'ts. In the fashion world, it's the tape over your eyes. Don't use block text at mediation in your PowerPoint statement. Don't use huge chunks of text that are so hard to read that people have to put their glasses on. And don't use funky colors that are fun. Don't use crazy animations. I'm trying to think of some other don'ts. There's numerous videos online that show don'ts, and they run across the board with presentation skills and aren't necessarily limited to litigation skills. So I encourage our viewers to go out and look at those too. But they're basic. Don't use bullet points and don't use too much text. But I will say that PowerPoint can be very, very effective at mediation, but it's definitely not called for in every single situation.
Well, this has been just really helpful, and thank you for your time today.
Katherine, thank you so much for having us, and thank you to the YLD for involving us in the Mentoring with the Master series.